My partner has trouble letting things go. I am very much in love with my live-in BF. We're 3 years or so in, and it's at the point that we've identified some unresolved issues between us and are working to improve communication and improve ourselves, both for ourselves and for each other. I'm fairly good at moving past issues if I feel they've been addressed. I work hard to provide for us. I have 2 kids from my previous marriage. Admittedly, I have led a fairly sheltered/privileged life. I have supportive family, decent education, not rich but feel secure in my job and future opportunities. I'm white, which comes with its own unintended privileges, but I can certainly identify how the system has paved an easier road for me. Worst thing I've been through was a toxic 14-year relationship, but honestly, I feel overcome through it better. My man has been through more than most people. Past relationships, jobs, betrayals by family members and friends, literal war, on top of having to deal with being a black man in America. But in addition to that, he is successful, loving, great sense of humor, a consistent provider, father, and natural leader, truly the kind of man that can bring out the best in people. And he loves me without a doubt and loves my kids. A lot of our life is fucking great. But then there's also the guy that gets overwhelmed and anxious, which, me too. We all do, when that takes over. He kinda ruminates on past hurts, the big ones that have changed his life, but also the issues that we have gone through. Even the issues that we have addressed and behavior is changed. Issues get brought back up. I feel blamed/defensive because I know the progress we have made that feels dismissed. He's expressed he has a hard time letting things go. In his words, I've been salty my whole life. And I can understand this. It's valid. There's been a lot of just shitty things that were out of his control that disrupted his life and set him back for no good reason. But at the same time, his life, our life, is pretty good. He has come so fucking far and worked so hard, he deserves to be happy about it. The wouldas/couldas/shouldas really bother him. Again, life is short. I can understand the hurt for wasted time and missed opportunities, but it seems counterproductive to continue to allow these things so much influence on one's mind and behavior when they can't be changed. The present is pretty good all things considered, and we can put down a solid foundation today for the future we want. Things outside our control will still happen, but I choose hope over defeatism. Obviously, I can't fix his mindset for him. And I don't want to invalidate his feelings and experiences by comparing them to things I've been through and dealt with. For me, acknowledging that there is absolute shit in this world, but there's also some absolute beauty, helps me to cope with the bad stuff. There's a lot of awful, but also a lot to be grateful for. The present is pretty good and getting better for us, even if it can be exhausting too. And the biggest thing is, the world is outside of our control. We can only choose to make the best of it. I want to support him, but I need help. I'm trying not to take it personally, but sometimes I do feel like his dismissal of my worldview negates the places where we could connect and move forward and make him feel less alone. I know there is a lot I will never experience or understand. But at the same time, it does also start to wear on me that he feels so stuck and salty and applies this mindset to issues in our relationship as well. How can I encourage and support him in processing our spats as well as past traumas? Does anyone have any tips for helping a partner through similar issues? How do we break cycles like this? Comment. I also act similarly to your boyfriend in relationships, though my background hasn't been nearly as turbulent. I just have a very hard time letting things go, even if behavior is changed. I think it is because I am naturally self-protective and good at finding patterns and then projecting them into the future. It's a strength in my work and some parts of my life, but my downfall in romantic relationships. It is not conducive to love and growth. My suggestions would be first couples therapy, even if you are not in crisis. Couples therapy actually works best when you're not in crisis, but more for ongoing issues like this. Maybe he never truly found a way to express how these things made him feel, even if you changed the behavior. which may be keeping him stuck, as it kept me stuck. Maybe also try checking in with him about the changed behavior. I know we struggled with this, and I am trying to make changes. How do you feel about the progress we've made? Have you seen a concrete change? This may give him a chance to focus on the positive changes and bring him into the present, and it also may help if perhaps there is a behavior you think you have changed but maybe he's still not perceiving it. This is all a two-way street. You seem like a lovely and caring person who is thoughtful and invested. In fact, I could learn something from you. These are just conversations that should be happening in every long-term relationship, in my opinion. Sometimes when my partner describes how he is feeling, he doesn't want me to try to relate to him. I find the best reaction sometimes is trying to reframe the memory around the event. Yes, this did happen and that's terrible, but what if that hadn't happened? You wouldn't have experienced this or have been able to help another person experiencing the same thing later on, whatever the case may be. In the moment, hopefully it helps him feel slightly better, and in the long run, maybe he can start to reframe the memory when he thinks about it. I'm the same way. I think I would likely kill myself if I didn't have the Legal Aid Center to help people who can't afford legal assistance and the fulfillment I feel by resolving my students' issues. It's also one of the reasons why I wasn't diagnosed with BPD until much later, because I'd found an excellent way of channeling my excess emotions and empathy, and other than these two symptoms and a tendency to binge eat, I wasn't showing any other symptoms. I wouldn't say your partner has BPD, but he could have like 1 or 2 indicators of it that would also require treatment. These sorts of behaviors and attitudes can be nipped in the bud through therapy, and the patient can learn to develop healthier coping mechanisms. I still enjoy being a professor and running the Legal Aid Center, but I don't derive primary joy from it. I now derive primary joy from taking a relaxing walk with the dogs, or doing something new even if it's scary, or engaging in a highly intellectual debate with a peer, or simply watching Netflix. Empathy is also really good, but I hope your partner draws boundaries and cares for himself first before taking care of others. Sorry if I'm projecting, LOL. Definitely. As someone with CPTSD, this shit can be complicated. I tend to shut down and keep to myself when experiencing these emotions, as I don't want to subject my partner to them. And if you can already anticipate exactly how the conversation would go with your partner and it's not a good outcome, then it often feels like it would be better to try and work through it on your own, rather than make it significantly worse with an awful conversation over it. Additionally, since he's distressed over situations in your own relationship, what are they, BTW? So vague. Most vague Reddit posts end up with OP leaving comments like there was cheating / some form is disloyalty in the relationship, and then everyone goes, oh. I just don't trust these vague posts, LOL. They always slip in some crazy information later down the line. You can also utilize this strategy when the person in the conflict isn't a loved one, say an acquaintance, stranger, CO worker. This issue right now with this person does not know me. They do not know my past or how I might react. They are not pushing my buttons because they do not know me. This is not an old past situation when insert old nemesis or mentor here would do something like this. This is now and right now. I need to say what I need and what would help me, because this person does not know me well enough to be trying to harm me. That wouldn't be logical. It is a misunderstanding or failure to communicate because we don't know each other well. Focus on this day, this situation, this time, not the past. Stay present. Make progress. Story 2. My boyfriend is constantly throwing "you live in my house" in my face whenever I get upset. My boyfriend loves to point out that I basically live in his house for free whenever I get upset with him. I moved in with him about 6 months ago. Context on how I contribute. I pay for water bill, all groceries, going out to dinner, all household subscriptions, clean the home, do his laundry, cook every night, and my parents and I have furnished the home. His father has purchased this home for him in cash, so he does not have a mortgage. I try to make things fair and have offered him rent, but he refuses. Now to why I'm upset. Earlier today I was looking for my blue bucket. It's a Yeti bucket and I needed to defrost a turkey. I asked for him to get it and he said that he put a bunch of fish poop and algae in it from his fish tanks and never asked to borrow it. It had the tag on it still and was never used, so I was quite upset because he has his own. Also, we both have the same $300 backpack, except I have a more stylish color, and when he went on a trip this past weekend, I noticed my backpack was taken from my closet and he got back and ripped the inside and dirted the whole thing up and left it on the floor. I don't mind him using my stuff, but it's the fact that he never asked and ruined them without offering to replace them. I spoke to him and said that I would like to be able to use my things without him ruining them and being able to have it in the condition I left them, and he said, well, you basically live here for free in my house. I got really upset because for a second it felt like he looked past everything I do for him. All I said to him was that I don't like when he makes that comment, and he just went on about his business. I don't know how to approach a conversation about this, or do I even say anything? I just feel hurt when he says that because I do live in his house, but he also comments that it's our house and I definitely don't live here for free. I'm perfectly fine living rent-free with my parents, but I wouldn't want to put him in a sticky situation because he could not afford to live here on his own. I also recognize that this might be a childish/minuscule argument, so please no mean comments. I'm just bad with confrontation and I want to get better at it so our relationship can last. I do love him dearly and we have a great relationship, but I just really need help with an outline on how I should approach this. Update: I spoke to him this morning and he apologized and agreed to replace my things. I told him how I would not mind living with my parents again and how I would be able to save money there, and he definitely got worried. He also agreed to lighten my load with chores and to help me around the house. We will see how this goes, but I definitely think he realizes how I don't necessarily need his help on a place to live and that I'm perfectly content with removing myself out of our living situation. He also agreed to going to the doctor for his ADHD. We will see. Comment: he's relying on your neatness as an excuse to not clean. Stop giving him an out. You're acting like his mother, chef, and sugar mama. Either he learns some gratitude and general adult abilities, or you should pack your bags and find someone who is not an overgrown baby. He didn't even pay for the house, so his audacity is mind-blowing. You are digging your own grave by letting him off the hook for everything. He has a live-in chef, maid, and punching bag. He is manipulating your conversations because he thinks he has power over you. He can't afford to live there alone. Then he'd better start treating you like an equal and step up. Also, he needs to replace your property anytime he damages or destroys it, starting with the backpack. You are on track to be a subservient housewife to a disrespectful and abusive man. Is that what you want for your life? It's his house. How are you responsible for the chores? How is he helping you around his house? He's afraid you'll leave, so now he's promising to change. But it still sounds like he sees the chores are your responsibility and you aren't really pushing back on that by saying he's agreed to help you. What a peach. Doubtful he'll change for more than a week. Good luck. You need to discuss the cleanliness of the house and splitting of chores now with him as well. This is the perfect opportunity to bring it up. If not, this will be your life. Him expecting you to do all the work and contribute to bills. What's going to happen one day when you're married and have kids? Do you plan to be a stay-at-home? Or will you be working, doing all the chores, all the cooking and child care? While he just comes home from work and does what? I see so many posts of women upset at their husbands for this. Yet it's because they were okay with it while being childless and just girlfriends. They allowed it simply because it won't get done if I don't do it. Or just to make the guy happy. Well, that's going to get old. You can't do that for the rest of your life. Figure it out now. His response to a very reasonable request is to threaten your living situation. Is that the man you want to live with? He has put nothing financially into this home. He did not buy the home. And you are literally paying for everything else. You are also the only one doing the cleaning and cooking. You are the one being taken advantage of in this situation.